The special council meeting of the town of Fort Frances to order. And we'll begin, as we always do, with a territorial acknowledgement. We respect and truly acknowledge that we are on Treaty 3 territory, the traditional land of the Anishinaabe and the Métis Nation. We give gratitude and honor to the ancestors, elders, and all Anishinaabe and Métis people for sharing their resources and knowledge. Councillors, is there any disclosure of pecuniary interest, and if so, state the general nature thereof? Seeing none. Item number 4 is the special meeting purpose, and the purpose of this special meeting is to introduce the Mayor's 2026 capital budget. I want to speak to that briefly, and then I'm going to read a proclamation. So as you know, the province has ordained that certain municipalities shall have strong mayor powers. We didn't ask for them. We don't have any choice. It's legislated. And so that's why the term mayor's budget is in there. That's in legislation. The Treasury has to put that in. As you all know, I have said that I'm not going to use the strong mayor powers, and I will not, other than when forced to do so legislatively. And a little of that spills over into this night's meeting. So I need to give direction, formal direction to the municipal staff, and I shall do so with a proclamation. Whereas Section 284.16 of the Municipal Act 2001 assigns the powers and duties of proposing and adopting a municipal budget to the head of council and requires the head of council to prepare a proposed budget for council's consideration, and whereas Section 284-3 of the Municipal Act 2001 authorizes the head of council to direct municipal employees in relation to the exercise of certain powers and duties under Part 6.1, and whereas it is the practice of the town of Fort Frances for municipal staff to prepare the draft budget for council's review and consideration, and whereas it is not the mayor's intent to exercise his power with respect to directly proposing and adopting the budget for the 2026 fiscal year. Now, therefore, I, Andrew Halikas, Mayor of the town of Fort Frances, hereby direct municipal staff to, 1, prepare the proposed 2026 capital and operating budget for council's consideration, and 2, bring the budget forward to council in accordance with the established municipal budget process and timelines. So, municipal staff, you have been duly and officially legislatively instructed. And so what that means is, of course, we're going to do the budget process as much as possible the way we have always done it. There are some slight differences, though, as you have noticed. You received your budget, capital budget early, and if you wanted ahead of time to strike items, there's paperwork that you can use to do that. It's not really intended that we adopt the budget tonight, although that's possible if it's your wish and if things go quickly and smoothly. However, tonight is primarily designed to give you a chance to ask questions, although you can strike things from the budget if that's the will of council. However, you do need to realize that legislatively there is a hard timeline, and the capital budget must be struck by December 16th. So after this meeting, those forms are available to you if you want to continue striking items from the budget, and then we shall meet on December 16th again for the final meeting on the capital budget, and at that meeting we must adopt a capital budget. Does anyone have any questions on that process? That's a slight departure from what we've done in the past. Okay, before we begin, again, I want to thank administration. I was present and saw how many times the budget went back and forth from managers to the CAO to Treasury, and then back and back and back and back. So this budget has been gone through with a fine-tooth comb by our administration. It's the best budget that they could bring to us, bearing in mind, and you would have seen that in your report, bearing in mind the wishes of the residents that we surveyed. So that was taken into account in creating this budget. There was a list of the top 10 considerations that our residents wanted to see in the budget. I should point out that there were three items missing from that list, and one of them was reconciliation. That was something that council decided was important. Another one was economic development and green initiatives. So you should also have in the back of your head those three, because those are yours. They came from council, but those are initiatives that council put forward as being important in the budget. So a big thank you to Manager Dawn from Treasury for the amount of work that she put in getting what's before you now. And so with that, we'll go to item 4.2, and I'll put a resolution on the floor so that we can discuss the budget. And the resolution reads that council receive report AR-25-0978, being the mayor's 2026 capital budget. Council has until December 16th to propose amendments to this capital budget. If no amendments are requested of council, the 2026 capital budget in the amount of $37,102,953, including $16,237,348 worth of projects previously approved but still in progress, and $20,865,605 in new capital projects will be deemed approved. Can I get a mover and seconder, please? Councillor Behan and Councillor Firth. Okay, we won't, yeah, we can vote on that because we're receiving it. All in favor? That's carried. Now, Council, over to you. And I thought in discussions with our Treasury manager that probably the best way to do this would be to go through it page by page. So we'll start with page 1, and then any issues that you have on page 1 or any discussion that you would like on any item on page 1, we can do that and we'll carry through. So on page 1, councillors, any issues there of concern? Councillor McTaggart?
Yeah. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. My headset
You're a little
wasn't working.
faint, though. I don't know if you can speak closer to your mic.
Thank you. Is that better?
A little bit.
Yeah, thank you. I also have a cold, so that won't help. My only question on this, I understand this is all carried over from this year into next year. Is there any of these projects that will not be completed in 2026?
Okay, who would like to take that? CAO?
Thank you, Your Worship. Staff and I have discussed this immensely. I think we're getting closer. Our ultimate goal is to have no carry forward. We understand that there's a long history of carry forward. As you can see, this year, the new is just under $21 million. There's a few asterisks to that one. Line 13, there's a $5 million project that a future report will come, which has no impact on the reserves amount. So this is a leaner capital budget for to complete. There's less variables outside of our control relative to previous years. So I'll open up the floor if Manager Rob wants to add anything, but we believe our target is to get 90% or more of these projects done. So then the carry forward in 2027 hypothetically would be, in a perfect world, let's say $4 million, because some things we simply can't control. So I hope that gives a broad overview. We're getting closer, but I don't want to take away the ambition either. We do a lot of projects. I'd rather be maybe short on a couple, and get closer to that 90% than to be done and maybe not have the opportunity to use synergies to finish projects that are maybe side by side, road work, sewer work, things of that nature. So I hope that gives some clarity, Councillor McTaggart. Thank you.
I'll come back to you, Councillor McTaggart, in just a minute. Did any managers want to weigh in? Councillor McTaggart, do you have a follow-up, or are you okay with that?
No, I thank you for the answer. And I guess my concern is, and I've asked it in past years, if we're biting off too much in 1 year, and so that we can't get things complete. And as Mr. Michaels reports, I'd like to see us get closer to completing these projects in the year they're budgeted. So thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you for that, Councillor McTaggart. Councillors, anything else on page 1? Councillor Bean?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I don't have it right in front of me, but I think it's 32A, the Sunny Cove rehabilitation. I know that item is coming up during our regular meeting tonight. So is that a potential that might fall off, depending on our decision later tonight?
I would think so, but does any managers want to tackle that one? Yes? CBO Burrows?
Thank you, and through the chair, me and Treasury have spoken about this. If council's decision is to go with the option for disposition of Sunny Cove, this would be stricken from the capital budget, as we wouldn't be executing on behalf of the rehabilitation. We would also be ceasing our grant agreement with NOHFC at that time.
Thank you for that. Any follow-up? Okay. Anything else on page 1, councillors? Okay, last call for page 1, moving to page 2. Okay, on page 2, councillors. Councillor McTaggart.
Thank you very much, Your Worship. My question is in regards to the Mill Road sidewalk expansion, and it's part of the active transportation funding grant. And my question is, and I'm, where are we going to build this sidewalk? And the land issue is being sorted out in terms of Agency 1 and the town. Where will the sidewalk be built?
Manager Rob.
Thank you through the chair. So the at this point in time, we haven't undertaken any detailed design of it. However, the intention is to run the sidewalk within the road allowance of Mill Road, heading north from the bottom of the overpass.
Thank you, Manager Rob. Follow up, Councillor McTaggart.
Okay, thank you very much. My question is, how close to the traffic on the highway would that road be built? How wide is the road allowance?
Manager Rob.
Thank you through the chair. So the road allowance varies based on where the road lies within it, but the intention is to build it behind the ditch.
Just for clarity, to the east side of the ditch?
Manager Rob.
Thank you. Yes, that's correct.
Thank you.
Okay. On page 2, further questions? Councillor Mackey.
Following up on Councillor McTaggart's question on the Mill Road sidewalk, we're looking at $674,000 of our money on top of the 800 and change in grants. In light of our fiscal situation, I'm wondering what the priority, how high on the priority list is that sidewalk for this year?
I don't know if there are any managers that want to tackle one. That really is a question for council, I think. But do any managers want to weigh in on that? So really, it's up to council where that one goes. If council wants to proceed with this, if you think it's important, Councillor Behan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you, I'm just curious for line 5 and line 6. I believe previously you've talked about maybe some partnerships we can enter into with either Couching or Agency 1 in general to help fund this as well. We can cost share, so that might reduce the cost a little bit. And even for the McCurvin Road one, I'm wondering if we can partner up with the school board yet again, like we did around Keating Avenue, to work on that sidewalk as well, so we can maybe cost share that, because it's for students going to Port Francis High School, I'm assuming. Thank you.
Yeah, and yes to both of those. With respect to the Mill Road, the idea was that there would be partnership with Couching and or Agency 1, because they have a very strong interest in getting this done, and perhaps even 7 Gens. And then with the school board, also, if we can partner always. Any other councilors want to weigh in on this? So, Councilor McTaggart?
Thank you, Your Worship. Is that something we could get an answer on, get some kind of general indication prior to the 16th?
We could try, no guarantee. Teo?
Thank you, Your Worship. That might be challenging for December 16th. We were making some progress with their administration, and then there was an administrative change that was done that still hasn't been rectified. So I don't want to assume, but I say it's very unlikely we would have anything by the 16th. This would fall more into the potential grant. But again, I do want to note that this is council's budget. If there's anything that you want to delay or take away, it's up to you. Administration does want this project. We believe that it's top priority, but again, it's your budget to pick where stuff gets done. But to answer your question, for the funding component, no new information more than likely on the 16th. Thank you.
Although I'm certainly willing to give Chief Breer a call and see if he has any further information on it, but I think it might even be difficult for him. But I'll do that. I'll call Chief Breer and see if he can shed any light on this. Anything further? So leaving that in for the present until we get further information. Okay, I'm getting nods. Okay. Further items on page 2. Councilor Behan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you, I'm just looking at the general government and the line 16 and 17. Is this just sort of phase 1 of assisting FFPC with the microgrid to be more down the road in the coming years? I can't remember seeing it. I'm sure it was there in the 5-year projection, but I just want to check if this is sort of the first stage of supporting the microgrid.
Yeah, and it's a very public way of showing what the microgrid is about, because the solar flower is a very distinctive thing, and it will be very noticeable, and it will be very usable. I don't know if Manager Robb wants to weigh in any further on that.
Thank you, through the chair. So 16 is a bit of a partnership project coming out of the microgrid. Supposed to kind of the goal behind it was to be a bit of a showpiece, be a bit of a learning piece to help the general public understand what a microgrid is, what a microgrid can be. And then 17 is in support of Fort Francis Power Corporation and some of the energy upgrades that has to happen for economic development purposes.
Yeah, I would say both of those things are probably very, very important for future economic development of Fort Francis. Any further questions or comments on those? Other items on page 2? Yes, Councillor Firth.
I was just wondering if administration could consider increasing the IT audio video budget for exterior sound for flag raising ceremonies, so we have better quality of mics and speakers. I was definitely at a couple presentations in November that we really couldn't hear, especially with Remembrance Day and that. We don't have that community asset, and I think that would be an investment worth looking into. Thank you.
Somebody on administration want to? Yes.
Through the chair. So we do have some portable speakers available at the museum. It's just that they haven't always been brought over here for those purposes. I would be completely in favor of a more permanent installation that doesn't require staff to have to go and collect and deploy and test all this equipment when it's minus 20 or for whatever occasion we're working on. I agree the output hasn't been great. So it really depends if you want to leverage the existing equipment we have or have us come back with a proposal for a permanent installation.
Councillor Firth, do you have a preference?
Through your worship, I don't think I have a preference. I think I would lean on administration to make a recommendation which one would be best used, because we do a lot of ceremony here, right? So I would think permanent here over the other.
Manager?
Through the chair. So we can get back to you fairly quickly on that, and we can have an internal discussion about that involving our communications department and the CEO and other managers and see what the best approach would be.
Yeah, CAO, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship. And if by chance the budget does get passed tonight, I'll reconvene with our IT manager and we'll get a high-level number to amend this if by chance. If not, it will be updated by the 16th.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good on that, Councillor Firth? Yep. Councillor Brunetta.
Just following up on Councillor Firth's question. So what specifically is the audio and video relating to in this budget?
Who's going to? Manager Hughes?
Just one moment.
Yep.
So through the chair, this currently includes items for improving our digital signage throughout the town. You've seen some of that be deployed this year. We have some more to go. There's some remediation for council chambers specifically, moving this television so it's more accessible, things like that. There's also some video conferencing lines at various facilities. I believe the line for next year is targeting Public Works to onboard all of our facilities with similar video conferencing setups, so they're all on the same platform and equally accessible to all staff in all locations.
Thank you, Manager Hughes. Councillor Brunetta, good? Anything else on page 2, councillors? Okay, moving to page 3. Okay, on page 3, councillors, questions, comments? Councillor Brunetta.
Regarding line 37, the Legion pedestrian crossover, I understood that there was some funding for this. So I was just wondering if maybe that, I see you've included it all in the reserve line. So I'm just wondering, I thought the Legion was contributing somewhat to that.
Manager Robb.
Thank you through the chair. So this is for the design and reconstruction of the
Crosswalk?
roadway markings, signage, lighting for that pedestrian crossover. The goal behind this, we don't have a lot of pedestrian crossovers in Fort Francis. We only have 3. 2 of them are basically identical. So the idea would be this one would be the initial, get through the design component, do the build part of that, and then basically replicate that design at the second of the 3 that is almost identical, and just bring them up to current standard.
Thank you. Councillor Brunetta.
Just follow up then. So this doesn't include the painted walkway on the pavement?
Manager Robb.
No, it does not.
Further questions? Councillor Morrison.
Through your worship, line 32, I'm just seeing we got to replace 3 trucks for 210,000. I'm just curious, like what year they are and how many kilometers on the 3 trucks.
Manager Robb.
Thank you through the chair. I believe they're all 2009 and 10. They range from 250,000 kilometers down to, I think the smallest one's 154,000.
Follow up, or you good? Okay. Okay, still on page 3, Councillor McTaggart.
Thank you, Your Worship. Line 39, which is a addition to the Public Works building. I look ahead to the 5-year capital projection, which I thank administration for bringing to us again or this evening. But in there is a new Public Works building. So we're going to add on this building, but then in 3 years' time, we're looking at a new Public Works building. And I just wonder the logic and your line of thinking on this particular item.
Manager Robb.
Thank you through the chair. So this wouldn't be in addition to the Public Works building. This would be a separate detached storage building. The idea of this would be about a 50-50 split between heated and unheated storage, taking into kind of use of part of that as a wash bay for large equipment.
Follow up?
Thank you, through you, your worship. So would this be used in the future as a wash bay, regardless of a new build?
Manager Rob?
Yes, that's the goal, is to take that rather dirty exercise and keep it separate of where you're storing your other vehicles, tools, equipment, things of that nature.
Thank you, Manager Rob. Councillor Mackey?
Thank you, Your Worship. Following up on that, then, if I'm understanding you correctly, Mr. Rob, that $1 million for the building now would probably save us the $1 million 3 years from now. If we didn't do this, you would still need it 3 years from now when you do the new facility.
Manager Rob?
Then added another $1 million to that. 9.
Thank you. Yes, through the chair. So yeah, the storage doesn't go away regardless in the future. The wash bay part doesn't go away in the future. So yes, this would be, built now, allow us that storage space, that wash space, which we could then not look at in the future for a new build.
Thank you for the question, the answer. Still on page 3, yes, Councillor Morrison?
To the chair, to Manager Rob, I noticed you mentioned the rust proofing or rust stuff here we've talked about in the past. So if the wash bay, would you be able to do rust proofing in there and then?
Manager Rob?
Thank you, through the chair. So there's a couple of different large equipment wash systems that are out there. Some just use water, some use have a full soap process in it. So this would be one of those two types, depending on budget allocations, things like that. But any of these systems focus on underbody wash, particularly with like salt trucks and stuff like that. You want to keep the salt dry in the box of the truck, so it really is a focused spray low. But it's the ability to quickly go through once every couple of days, once a week, and hit this equipment regularly, as opposed to when we have time, which is rarely.
Thank you. Yes, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship. Line 35, repair of broken expansion joint on the Mill Road overpass. Now, that's a substantial cost for repairing that, and I just trying to go back. It wasn't too long ago that was redone. So, is there a way to go after that past contractor for some of that?
Manager Rob?
Thank you, through the chair. A lot of the costs associated with this is just the setup and maintenance of a traffic control system while the work is being undertaken. This isn't a one-day project. This is a multi-day project, which means you're bringing in signals, traffic control devices. That's a huge component of the cost. In terms of previous work, it was rehabilitated in 2018. Roadworks contracts have a 1-year warranty period, so we are beyond the warranty period.
Follow up, or are you good? Okay. Further questions on page 3? Okay, moving on to page 4. Okay, questions on page 4, councillors? Councillor Behan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you, I'm just curious for the airport lines 49 and 50. Would some of that have been covered by the ACAP grant if we had still scheduled flights, or is it, that's why we have as much support for that? Thank you.
Manager Rob?
Thank you, through the chair. So if we were still ACAP eligible, we would be eligible this year for a full runway replacement. So we would not be doing any of the runway crack repairs. We would be eligible as well for a new rotary broom, but we would be unlikely to get that funded until further years because of the runway surface repair.
Thank you, Manager Rob. Follow up, or are you good? Okay, Councillor McTaggart.
Thank you, Your Worship. Through you, items 71 to probably down to 80. Is this in reference to the next item on the agenda?
Manager Rob.
Thank you through the chair. Just item 71.
Just 71 alone? And can we, we haven't got to that item yet, but can we speak to it at this point?
Sure, go ahead.
Thank
Yes,
you.
go ahead.
It's a huge project, and I understand the critical importance of doing it. Is it all achievable in the 1 year?
Manager Rob.
Thank you through the chair. So this project has already been split over the years. If you look in the 5-year capital plan, you'll notice that there's additional costs associated with this in years 27 as well. So we have already split it.
Thank you.
Okay. Further questions on page 4, councillors? Okay, moving to page 5. And on page 5, questions, Councillor Mackey?
Thank you, Worship. Line 82, reconfigure the auditorium. I'm just wondering if that is something that is a need to do or nice to do at this point, looking at the total amount for that project.
Thank you for the question. Manager McLeod.
Thank you, through the chair. For programming purposes, we wanted to move towards a multi-use facility so that we can enhance programming and use it. Right now, the ceiling tiles, we can't use a lot of balls up there because we ruined ceiling tiles. So we're just trying to get away from that so we can have a lot more options for the community.
Just a follow-up question on behalf of Councillor Mackey. Would that in any way increase income?
It would definitely increase revenue.
Thank you. Are you good, Councillor Mackey? Okay. Councillor Behan?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, through you. It's more of a comment than anything, but line 88, I'm quite curious about the golf simulator, and I sort of like the idea that we're going to broaden what we're offering, and it sounds like it's be real revenue generated that would more than make up for the cost very quickly. I guess my question would be, what room are you looking at, and is there room? Thank you.
Manager McLeod.
Thank you, through the chair. There's not a lot of room, but there is an IFK room that stores our table and chairs. So I've measured that out, and it's on the IFK concourse.
Again, a supplementary question to that. Do you anticipate an increase in income because of this?
Thank you, through the chair. So I'm just working on my ops budget right now, and I've projected conservatively, as it's the first year, but I am projecting a $45,000 in revenue for 2026.
Thank you. Page 5, further questions? Councillor McTaggart?
Thank you. Just following up through you, Your Worship, on line 82 about the auditorium reconfiguration. I see that there's a chance for the NOHFC grant. Will it proceed even if we don't get that grant, if we approve this budget?
Who's tackling that? Manager McLeod?
I mean, thank you, through the chair. It's the will of council, but ideally, I would say it's a priority from a rec and culture perspective.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Councillor Bernard.
Well, this is similar to Councillor McTaggart's question. Can we, as we're going through this budget, can we move some of these items into a category dependent on funding, similar to how we do our other budgets? So I just think it might be one of those areas where we say, you know, these are all great things and, you know, would be good to have, but maybe we wait until we find out if we get the grants.
Good question, fair question. I'll look at our treasurer if she wants to comment on that, please.
Sure, through the chair. Yes, absolutely, we can do that. If there's any of these line items, just let me know and I will make that change. Of course, the will of council.
Okay. So did you want to move that one?
The whole group that says may be able to be approved through the NOHFC grant.
Okay, so I'll look to the rest of council. Councilors, would you like to move as a group all of the questions that are all of the items that are dependent on additional funding into one category? Getting nods? No, not for Councillor Bean, though, go ahead.
Sorry, I just want to make a comment first before I talk about it further. To me, I see a difference between dependent on funding and conditional potential grants, because it's something may be very important to do, and if we get the grant, that's bonus, that's gravy, it's cherry on top. But I think it still has to go ahead regardless, and I think the difference is we have to go ahead with it. If we get a potential grant, that's wonderful. But I think they still have to go ahead. Whereas dependent on funding means they would not go ahead if we don't get the funding. But these maybe still have to go ahead, and we get a bonus.
Are you okay with that, Councillor Bernetta, that some of the ones in that group, we might put an asterisk beside and say, these are important enough that we go ahead without funding?
Well, then it wouldn't be moved to dependent on funding,
Okay.
right? So I would prefer these be moved to dependent on funding, but it's the will of council.
Okay, so here's what I'm hearing, that you'd like to see a group, all of the ones that are dependent on funding in a group, and then out of that group, we'll highlight some that we think should go ahead regardless. Madam Treasurer?
Sorry, may I butt in?
Sure, you may.
So I think we already do have that dependent on funding grouping. So
Okay.
those are fine. You're just saying that there's a few of these items that you don't necessarily want to proceed with if we don't get funding, correct? Not all of the ones that are potential grants, just specific ones. So if we can move specific ones, then I think that would potentially.
That makes
solve the
sense. So we'll
issue.
deal with them as they come up.
I think so.
This being one of them. So, Councilor Bernard, are you suggesting that this one should be dependent on funding, and if we don't get the funding, we don't do it?
Yeah, so that's line 82 to 86, oh no, 85, I believe.
So how does the rest of council feel about bundling those? Do you want to keep them regardless of funding, or do you want to make them go away if we don't get the funding? Councilor Bien?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you, I think the only problem with that I see is that if we keep delaying projects, they're going to come back and bite us in the butt eventually. So if we keep putting things off, we're eventually going to have to replace them. And then we already seen from our 5-year projection that sort of we got some high capital expenditures coming up, and we keep delaying things, and I think it's just going to pile on more. So if these are doable and are needed now, and we get the grants, great. If we don't, I think they should, most, if not all of them, should go ahead, because there's quite a few on the list here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, so right now we're dealing with 82 through 85. CAO?
Thank you, Your Worship. Although they're all grouped together, I would encourage maybe to pull some if you feel the individual ones are important to you. For myself, and I'll open it to Manager McLeod for her comments also through the mayor. But line 82, we feel that renovating the auditorium brings in revenue, and it's if we don't get funding, we think it's one of the best things to do. We don't have a gymnasium. We don't have we don't want to put in a 5-year capital a $20 million, $30 million expenditure for like a gym space, right? So this is a great alternative in order to provide youth, floor hockey, different sports, activities, services. So something like that, to me, out of the 4, that's the most important. If we get money, great. But if we don't, I strongly recommend that's still something great. Now, if that's not the will of council, that you don't believe those services or that specific service, then please tie it to dependent on funding. But I would recommend some debate on the biggest item there. That this is a conceptual question you're asking. Do you want to increase those services for youth? If it's not that important, then put it to funding, tie it to funding. If it is, then hopefully there's some wholesome discussion and you support it. So to me, out of all of them, that's the one where I would hate to kill. The other ones, they're smaller. We can do them other years. They have a little bit less impact, but I think the greatest return on service in programs is line 82. Thank you.
Okay, we hear you. So on that one item, still dealing with the others, but on that one item, 82, keep it. regardless or make it dependent on funding? I'm seeing keep it, I'm seeing keep it. Okay, so we're keeping line 82. 83. Keep it regardless or make it dependent on funding? Councilor Morrison?
To the chair, to Manager McLeod, just want to know, is this a dressing room upgrade or for the urinals?
Manager McLeod?
Thank you. Through the chair, it wouldn't be included in the 175 for dressing rooms. Well, I guess dressing room 3 could be included.
I'm still looking for guidance on item 83. You want to keep that? I will point out that some of the dressing rooms over there are pretty gross, and we are trying to increase our economic development through attracting tournaments and out-of-town hockey players. So it might be nice if they had decent dressing rooms, but it's my 2 cents worth. You're fine with keeping it in?
I don't feel qualified to vote on this one. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Anyone else want to venture an opinion? Keep it in? I'm seeing nods. So we'll keep that one in as well. Okay. 84, replace dasher boards and repairs. Any direction on that one? And by the way, administration, feel free to speak up if it's something that you think there's something we should know about it and that it's important. Yes, Councilor Morrison?
So the chair, what are dasher boards?
Manager Rob?
Thank you, through the chair. So this would be the phased replacement of basically the hockey rink boards. The white plastic material, the yellow plastic material down along the bottom. Over time, it's very durable, but over time it does wear, and particularly the yellow part along the bottom is getting very, very, very thin.
Councilor Bean?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you, I see that it is already phased over 3 years. So if you delay it this year, then you're just delaying it down the road. So again, I'm good with keeping these.
Okay. Any direction? I'm getting thumbs up again, so we'll keep that one. And then bleacher replacement phase 1. Is that the bleachers in the pool? Manager Rob?
Through the chair, thank you. No, this would be the replacement of the bleachers in IFK.
Oh, IFK, okay. So councilors, what are your druthers on? Yes, go ahead.
Through your worship.
Yep.
How many is that in IFK? Because 52 is considerably older than IFK. So what's the urgency on IFK?
Manager Rob?
Thank you, through the chair. So I agree, 52 is considerably older. It's also considerably more robust. They're easier to repair. They're easier to look after. They don't look as nice. IFK are very easy to damage. They're no longer made, and we can no longer get replacement parts. So we have a big problem with kids kicking the backs off of the chairs, and when the backs get kicked off the chairs, we don't have other backs to put on.
I can actually speak to that, having been attending Laker hockey games, and I see the signs everywhere that says, "Don't put your feet on the back of the chairs." And I look around, and everyone's putting their feet on the back of the chairs. So keep it in. Okay, that one's still in. All right. Nice try, Councilor Bernetta. Still on page 5. Other questions or comments on page 5? Councilor Bien.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you, then looking down at the library, for example, lines 93 to 98. Again, these are all potential grants to help offset the cost, but I would hate to put them on depend on funding because I think they're needed for the library right now. If we get, again, the potential grants and the bonus, then it's wonderful. But I don't want to see that go to depend on funding if that's what the idea was, to sort of anything that had potential grant move there, because I don't think that's the way to go. Thank you.
I'll also speak to that one. I suspect, and Madam Treasurer can correct me, that we do have a dedicated fund for library capital expenses that council put in when the library was built. That's the budget we're looking at taking this out of, correct?
Through you, there are two different lines. So the L/B is the board directed reserves. And then the PLTC stands for the one that council did put in, that is the town funded.
Right. So the one that is the library directed, I mean, that's the library's money. That was donated to the library. They can spend that or not as they choose. The one that council put in that was for capital projects, the agreement at the time was that the library was built without any funding whatsoever from council, so council put aside a capital reserve, but council controls the capital reserve, so the library needs permission to use it. But as Councillor Behan pointed out, those are all necessary repairs for the library, so I think that they probably should go ahead. Do any council? I'm getting thumbs up. Okay, that's good. Okay, so that all stays in. Thank you for that, Councillor Behan. Anything else on page 5? Oh, sorry. I'm sorry, Councillor Bernetta.
I just have a question about the Honeywell system. You mentioned at the beginning, Mr. Mayor, that we, in our objectives for the town or for the council, green initiatives was one of our objectives. So would the Honeywell project or system fall within that category?
Manager Rob, is that considered green?
Thank you through the chair. Maybe, but probably not. I would say some of the energy initiatives earlier on in the budget are hitting your green target pretty good.
But I would say that we did do a Honeywell makeover on the arena and saved some money doing that, and the library seeks to emulate that because they've been running up fairly expensive heating and electrical costs. So what they're trying to do is save money in the long run. Yeah, Councillor Firth.
Through your chair, or sorry, through your worship, line 90. I just had a quick thought. If we're trying to improve guest experience and be a marquee venue for hockey, the canteen experience is a large part of that. And I understand that we're making some upgrades there. Can we try to look at things that can expedite the process for the fans? So like if heat lamps and a hot dog roller would speed up the line, can we have administration reach out to the operator and have that ready for the 16th? Thank you.
Okay. Administration, I guess Manager McLeod, you're nodding, you can do that? Okay, Manager McLeod's going to do that.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else on page 5? Okay. Moving on to page 6. Okay, councillors, questions on page 6 or comments? Councillor McTaggart?
Thank you. Got to get to the right button there. Thank you, Your Worship. Can I just have a little more description on, I'm sorry here, on line 101.
Who's Chief CBO Burrows?
Thank you, and through the chair. So we had proposed to have capital commitment initially for the development of further expansion of our industrial park and opening up more lots in the industrial park area. With considering this, we've also taken a look at previous year's future planning for the street beautification plan. Merging the two together for future planning projects, they can be bundled together and eligible for funding from the federal or provincial government. that can see these projects come to fruition. The main point of these future planning projects is to get a design work and infrastructure layout planned so that we can execute at a later time and open up these properties for economic stimulation, business expansion, and new industry development. We are getting to capacity of available serviced industrial lots. At this time, we don't have any smaller parcels. We're at the end of our industrial park sales. So we would like to open up more industrial parks for available capacity for new businesses and industries coming in. The streetscape beautification plan is meant to encourage and stimulate businesses in the downtown core, making it more viable for pedestrians and people coming to businesses, and making it a more enjoyable experience for citizens of the town and people from out of town coming in to do business.
Thank you. Follow-up, Councillor McTaggart?
Yeah, thank you for that explanation. They just seem like two completely different projects, but I see why you're doing it to combine for the grant opportunity. So thank you very much.
Thank you for the question, Councillor McTaggart. Any further questions or comments on page 6? Councillor Firth?
Just through your worship, administration, can you comment, like I know we've shelved the Gateway project for now. With there no sight of us getting a new bridge, are we going to start looking at beautifying our entrance to our community?
Who's going to take this one out? CBO Burrows.
Thank you, and through the chair. So the streetscape beautification plan would be establishing a plan for the downtown core for beautification. So that will be our point of entry from the US of beautification. The Gateway project, we do have a plan in order. The capital costs associated with implementing that plan are quite high, and with the aspect of not retaining ownership or figuring out what's going to be happening with the bridge, it's hard to execute on that without the capital commitment or understanding what's going to happen. Furthermore, for the gateways at either end of town, the east and west end of town, that's a part of the new rebranding strategy for the town welcoming signs, as well as initiatives under the official plan and hopefully the CIP for beautification and business characteristics and zoning on those properties to help lead it to a more welcoming gateway entrance.
Thank you, CBO Burrows. Are you good with that answer? Okay. Anything else on this page? Councilor McTaggart?
Thank you, Worship. On line 102, the dog park construction, it says 25,000 contribution from others. Could I, where does that money come from?
CBO Burrows.
Thank you, and through the chair, I do want to apologize. This is not secured funding at this time. The purpose of the dog park committee is to plan for the dog park, design characteristics of the dog park, and also look at ways to source and find additional funding. Initially, when compiling the capital budget, we did want to ensure that there was reserve funds available for the basic necessity of fencing. The $25,000 is anticipated of what the committee may feasibly be able to source for this project.
Thank you, CBO Burrows.
Is it possible to fund all of it from others, contribution from others?
I don't know if you can answer that, but do you want to take a stab at it?
Thank you, and through the chair, I will say that is potentially up to the resolve of the committee to look at inspiring ways to source funding, looking at sponsorships, donations, grant opportunities. We don't have anything fully slated yet. I am very confident in the $25,000. Anything additional would, again, be subject to the will of the committee and being able to find those funds, being able to fund the entire project. Though it has potential, is a long stretch, especially when we get into the high capital costs.
You're just going to have to rise to the standards of the Splash Park Committee. Any further questions on page 6? Okay, I believe that. Oh, sorry, Councillor Bien.
I apologize, Mr. Mayor. Can I go back to page 1? I forgot to ask a question and
Yeah, certainly. I was just going to do that.
It's line 8, the Legion Park Splash Park. And I've realized that all the funds, speaking of the Splash Park Committee, are donated. I'm just curious what still has to be done there, Manager Rob.
Manager Rob.
Thank you through the chair. So we still have a donor sign to acquire and install. We have a basketball court to build, and then some other park signage, smaller park signage to put up as well.
Thank you, Manager Rob. Any other questions going back over the previous pages that come to mind now, or that you missed, or that you'd like to address? Councilor Morrison.
I'm on the right page. I believe it's line 180 with the ceiling of the arena. Sorry, 82. Sorry, I just have a question about 82 through the chair. I'm just wondering what kind of opportunities have we been missing out on, like that you think will be generating revenue? Like the CEO mentioned, like floor hockey and stuff. I'm just wondering, with the ceiling and stuff, what limitations, what have we been missing out on for revenue?
Manager McLeod.
Thank you. Through the chair. Like basketball programs, anything with pretty much a puck or a ball, we've been missing out on that market. And the summer programs, like they don't go there and play dodgeball or anything like that.
CIO.
Thank you, Your Worship. And I'd like to add, for those who might not be very familiar with it, you might go into a certain auditorium or a space where all the lights are covered, all the certain equipment or certain structures are protected for high velocity. Let's say a volleyball would break a light, break any chandelier or stuff like that. We basically want to keep it an auditorium and make it protective so you can have all kinds of sports in it. So it'll look a little bit different, but it will be essentially a gymnasium space. So this money will then be open to all programming, limited to size. So you probably couldn't have a full, let's say, adult volleyball tournament there, but you could have youth and some adult programming. And essentially, this is to protect the multi-use of an auditorium space. So it's already maybe not as fancy as certain other venues. This will change it a little bit, but it makes it a total multi-use. So I hope that adds for those who, there's been a few questions regarding it. This is really to really change the function of the space, and it's unlimited to what we can do, but we believe our staff can provide all sorts of programming for it, and we obviously look for any insight in future years of, hey, what's missing in our community. But one was mentioned, basketball. We moved here as a family, there's no basketball programming. It's really hard to do that. Our job, like the golf simulator, if the private sector doesn't offer programming, then we're going to look to offer it. So I hope that helps.
Thank you. Manager McLeod.
Thank you. Through the chair. I'd just like to add one thing as well. I did do a little bit of a restructure on the labor budget, just with the struggles of finding a full-time daytime lifeguard. And it is a recreation supervisor, so they will be dedicated to just rolling out programs that are not aqua-based. So it'll just be programs, and the multi-use would be really beneficial for that.
Thank you, Manager McLeod. Councilor Morrison, you're good? Okay. Yes.
Thank you.
Councilor.
Following up on that, so if we're turning it more into a gymnasium with basketball hoops and things like that, are we then maybe moving away from things like socials and wedding receptions and things like that? Like maybe people wouldn't want those in the room.
Manager McLeod.
Thank you. Through the chair. Everything will be portable, so nothing will be like structured on the wall, just so that we can accommodate the socials and the weddings and Christmas parties and things like that.
What I'm hearing you say, Manager McLeod, is that you're trying to maximize the flexibility and also maximize the income that you can get from the resources that we have. Further questions or comments? Anything in the 2026 budget? Yes, Councillor Bien.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, through you. And again, for the public out there, you look at $37 million, you go, oh my God, it's a lot of money. It is a lot of money. Bearing in mind that 16 million of it is carryover, so that brings it down to about 20 million. And if you look, and with maybe potential grants still of 1 million coming in, now you're down to 19 million. If you look at what we have coming forward the next 4 years after 2026, this is actually a pretty reasonable budget. And I think that, to me, these are all things that we really can't put off, I don't believe. And the more you put it off, the more it's going to cost down the road, and it's just going to pile up on the capital budgets going forward. So I guess what I'm trying to say is I'm comfortable with what we are being presented. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Any other comments on the budget? So Councillor Morrison?
I'm just wondering if we could even do like the sidewalk dependent on the partnership with Better Thing, just because going on Mill Road, that's one thing I'd like to look at in the future. Just wanted to mention that.
Okay. Thank you for that. So what I'm going to suggest, but again, Councillor, is totally up to your druthers. We probably could pass this evening, but there were some questions that were asked that administration was going to come back. So I would recommend that we wait until December 16th to pass this and get the answers to the questions that were posed to administration. Is that all right, Council? Okay, so we'll do that. Okay, so then that brings us to the 5-year plan, 4 years in addition to 2026, which you just looked at in detail. So I'm not necessarily going to go through that page by page, but I do want to give councillors every opportunity to weigh in. Just bear in mind that it is just that. It's a 5-year plan, so you're basically forecasting several years into the future, and also that a little less than a year from now, there'll be a brand new council in place. They might not feel the same way about things as this council. And also, during the length of that plan, there's also time to make changes. But I think what's coming forward is what was requested from council, and also it gives you an opportunity to see where administration projects us going, and do you have appetite to go in that direction? So with that, I'll open the floor for questions on anything in that 5-year projection. And I'll go to Councillor Bernetta and then Councillor McTaggart. Councillor Bernetta?
Thank you, Your Worship. No questions, really. I just want to express my appreciation for all the hard work that went into these projections. I know I've been asking for this for some time now, so it really does help, even though I know you can't forecast what's going to happen. Legislation changes, things change. So I really appreciate that the effort was put into preparing this budget. Thank you.
Councillor Bernetta. Councillor McTaggart?
Yeah, thank you, Your Worship. I'm similar sentiments. I had brought forward a motion that we have a 5-year capital budget plan, and administration has delivered. And I think it's a really important document. It makes this council start to think ahead, and also for next year. To your point, Your Worship, it's an election year, and anybody who's going to run wants to be taking a look at this document and starting to formulate their plans on how the town is going to move forward in meeting these budget demands for capital expenditures. So kudos to administration. Great job. I appreciate the work that's gone into it, and it's a real eye-opener. And I think probably the administration is always thinking in these terms, but now we have it on paper so the council can share in that and understand it. So thank you again.
Thank you for that, Councillor McTaggart. Councillor Behan?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you, I'm on page 2 under D, transportation system, and then reconstruction of Central Avenue intersection. And I see that's only $1 million on there for 2027, and there's no other monies allocated for the subsequent years. I was under the impression that was going to be a lot more than that in terms of the overall price tag. The options we were given, one was 3 million, one was 3.9, and I think one was 4.7. So I'm just wondering why just $1 million is there. Thank you.
Manager Rob, when you're ready.
Thank you. I just had to find it in the list here. Apologies. That was an item that I had stuck in there before I got the KGS report, the updated costing.
So that number would be higher than obviously than $1 million.
Yes. What number was that?
Page 2 under D, about to the bottom, reconstruction.
under the Connecting Link Highways section.
While Councillor Mackey's looking, you good? Are there further, yeah, follow up? Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Then just for my own clarification, at the end, the last page there where you're showing the totals for each of the years coming up, that's what the projected costs are. But that doesn't take into account grants. We have no way of predicting what we get for grants, but that's not going to be all our money. That'll be, or am I mistaking? Is that all our money or is that subject to grants?
Madam Treasurer? Go ahead.
Through the chair, yeah. There's definitely potential for grants throughout the whole 4-year capital. We just don't know what that is yet, so we didn't project it yet.
Thank you. Further comments? Questions? Councillor, sorry, Councillor Bernetta.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just under on the last page there of the 5-year budget under Sister Kennedy Center, I noticed there was no figure put in for the new parking spaces that are being proposed. I realize that hasn't been approved yet, but I'm just wondering if that should have been in the 2027 line.
I'm looking for administration. Could you repeat that, Councillor?
So the final page, under the Sister Kennedy Center. Maybe it's not the final page, sorry.
Manager Robb is ready to respond.
Okay.
Thank you, through the chair. Council never gave clear direction on what they wanted to do with the parking spaces.
Are you okay with that answer? Okay. Further questions? Comments? Yep. Councillor Morrison?
It's under J, memorial, or through the chair, to Manager Robb. Just wondering about the sandblast and paint for the 52 arena. I'm just wondering if get some more information about that. That's $180,000 for 2027 or 2028.
Manager Robb.
Thank you, through the chair. So we had, prior to replacing the roof on 52, it had been leaking for a number of years. And what had ended up happening because of that is a lot of the cinder block walls started to sort of bubble. And the paint over top of it, of course, bubbled with it. We've done our best to touch it up, but it really needs to go back to the bare concrete, be sealed, and repainted.
You're good. Councillor Mackey?
Thank you, Your Worship. In the same section, just below what we just discussed, gym expansion and change room upgrades. And the line item says 9 million. So I'm curious as to what are we building?
Manager Robb.
Thank you, through the chair. So we've engaged an architecture firm a couple of years ago now, looking at how we can rehabilitate or reconfigure the pool change room area to be more inclusive, more accessible. And unfortunately, the only way we can do that is to rob some space out of the fitness area. So we're looking as part of that to build on to make up for that space that we're losing for change rooms, and keep a similar sized fitness area with change rooms that are more accessible and more inclusive, and have that as all part of one project.
Follow up?
Thank you. Would any of that include a gymnasium?
Manager Rob?
Through the chair, right now the plans don't include a gymnasium, but if council decides it's time they want to include a gymnasium, it's something we could definitely look at.
For another 9 million?
Further questions, comments on the 5-year projections? Then I'll just move to, there's a page on the reserve funds. If councillor wanted to ask any questions or make any comments on the reserve funds, you're welcome to. I mean, they are what they are. Councillor, go ahead.
Thank you, Worship. I'm looking at the second last page, or the first page of the reserve funds, and under elections, I see that there is for 2026, just under $2,500 in the reserve. If I recall, election costs like 40,000. So should we not have been building that up over the last 4 years? For some reason, I think that would have been discussed a few years back to do that.
I'll go to Madam Clerk for that one.
Through the chair, I believe it was only in the last year that we made a motion to start contributing monies here and there. So I believe it was approximately 12,000 each year. This is the first year for it.
Thank you. So anything else on this document? Okay, I first of all want to compliment you, Council, for a concise discussion, but a very good discussion. I really want to echo Councillor McTaggart's comments and Councillor Burnetta's comments about the 5-year plan. It really is an important document, I think. It gives Council an overview of where we perhaps should be going, where we could be going. And as Councillor McTaggart said, I think that's going to be a very important document for people who run for council in the 2026 election. If I was running for council, I would get a hold of that document and have a close look at it when I started setting up my platform. So many thanks to administration. As I mentioned at the beginning, I know how many times this went back and forth between administration and the CEO and the treasurer to get where it was today. So thank you for some fine work there. We'll move on to item 4.3, which is the water treatment plant rehabilitation. That was for information. But if councillors have any questions or would like to make any comments on that, we'll entertain those at this point. And I don't know, Manager Rob, if you wanted to speak to it. I think it was pretty self-explanatory. It was your usual excellent report. Okay, seeing none. That brings us to item number 5. And I do believe I have a, no. just having a discussion with the clerk on Robert's Rules of Order. We had a resolution on the floor at the beginning. We had it moved and seconded so that we could discuss it, but we never voted on it. And we're discussing whether we should vote on it tonight or next week. But it is for information, so we can vote on it tonight. So on the motion that was given at the beginning of the meeting, you need it read again? The council received report AR-25-0978, being the mayor's 2026 capital budget. Council has until December 19th to propose amendments to this capital budget. If no amendments are requested of council, the 2026 capital budget in the amount of $37 million and change, including $16 million and change of projects previously approved but still in progress, and roughly $21 million in new capital projects will be deemed approved. That's been duly moved and seconded. It's been discussed. I'll call the question. You have a question, Councillor McTaggart?
Your worship, I believe I heard you say December 19th.
If I did, my bad. It should be December 16th. Thank you for that.
Thank you. Okay.
And with that, any further questions or comments? I will call the question. All in favor? That's carried, and there was no one opposed. And now that brings us to this recommendation that this special meeting of council be adjourned at 5:46. Could I get a Councillor McTaggart and Councillor Mackey? All in favor? It's carried. And I also received a little notes during the meeting from the clerk. Tells me that a couple of councillors mentioned it might be nice to have a 5-minute break. So we will take a 5-minute break. It being 5:47, at 5:52 we shall meet again.